Hello everyone. Today I am so excited to bring you along on what I feel is one of the most important things anyone can learn. And that is the importance of old wives' tales. There is so much truth in old wives' tales. And today I'm showing you one of my grandmas. She used to call this the farmer's flu shot. The original recipe dates all the way back to the Japanese and the Orient, when they had just ginger and turmeric and honey. And by following the Silk Road, the recipe traveled, and along the way it picked up the lemons, and it has become what it is now. Now, when you make it, this old wives' tale, your early winter tea, or your flu shot, whatever you want to call it, it really helps with when you got tickles in your throat and you feel, ooh, you're falling. It really works for when you got tickles in your throat and you feel a cold coming on, to help with the prevention of it. So what we do is we slice our lemon really thin. And we want to make sure that when we're assembling this and putting it together, that we do it in a very specific way, in an order, and we mix it right, because what we're trying to do is we're trying to create a chemical reaction, a pharmaceutical reaction to help you get healthier. So we start with our lemons, organic, GMO free, local if you can, best lemons you can possibly get a hold of, and we slice them thin. A lot of times I use a 1.5 jar. This is one that's been in my fridge for 6 months. I made this at the beginning of summer. This one doesn't have turmeric in it because I use other antiviral things in the summer and other histamine things in the summer to help, so I don't add the turmeric for my summer tea. But I'm prepping my winter tea now, and I need the very, very important antiviral and antibiotic that will be created from mixing all of them just right. So I like using a 1.5 jar, but I see most people using a quart jar. It works either way, so I'm just going to show you how to use a quart jar. Now, I've washed my hands really, really well. It's important that you wash your hands all the way up as high as you can. Get them as clean as you can and scrub them really, really well. We are trying to create medication in a way here. We're trying to create something to help with your immune system. So the last thing we want to do is put germs into this, because what we're trying to do is kill germs, not grow germs. So we're just going to layer our lemons together. About half of a lemon, 4 or 5 slices on the bottom. Set these other slices off to the side. Then we're going to take ginger. Take a big old finger of it and cut these little tiny pieces off, just so it's a little bit easier to peel. Now, some people use a spoon, some people cut it off, but I have found the best and easiest way is to take a paring knife and just rub it on there, and the skin will come and flake right off. We're going to get all that skin off. You can leave the this on if you want. It just gives your tea a bitter flavor if you leave it on. So I take it off so it's not quite so bitter. Now that we've got as much of the skin off as possible, we do the same thing with this as we did with the lemons. We want nice, thin slices. We want to get cut through that core. We want to release all those enzymes and all those chemicals that are inside the ginger, so that we are going to be creating an environment in your jar to create the chemical reaction that we want for the pharmaceutical properties. Now, we take the sliced ginger and get it in here in a nice, flat, solid layer if we can. If we have to slice up more ginger to get a nice layer, then we have to. Now, to start this recipe, it does take a lot of ginger and a lot of lemon and a lot of turmeric, I know. But once you get it going, like I said, this jar is 6 months old, and the lemon and the ginger in here are not icky or bad or rotting, even though it's 6 months old. And it's from the antibiotic chemical process that we are creating. And because we will make sure that all of it stays underneath of the liquid so that no air touches it, so we don't create growth on our ginger and lemons. I'm going to take and clean up a little bit more here. And slice it. Big, thick layer of ginger. Then, big, thick layer of lemons. Then, your turmeric. Cut off these little bulbs. And again, skin the turmeric. Now if you have pigs or chickens, you can feed them all this skin and it will be wonderful for their health and their immune systems. Or pigs, they'll like them too. I don't know about goats. I've never tried to feed it to goats. I don't know if it would be good for goats or not. You would have to look that up yourself. But pigs and chickens would love all that mess, and it would be good for them. A layer of turmeric. Now you are generally only going to end up with 1, maybe 2 layers of turmeric. It's the ginger and the lemon that you're going to get most of, and that is fine because you don't need. Turmeric is such a strong medicine. You don't need much of it. I have an alarm going off. Hang on. I'm back. Alright, let's get this skinned and cleaned and into our tea. Okay. Now, if you can't afford turmeric, you don't have to do turmeric, but turmeric just adds that extra antiviral aspect and helps with the antibiotic aspect also. And helps with clearing out and opening up your chest for the histamine aspects. Alright, turmeric in. And now, more lemons. Cut the end off your lemons. Now this stuff, you can drink it once a week once you've made it. Or you can drink it every day or several times a day because there's absolutely no way to overdose on this medication like you can on some of your other over-the-counter cold and flu syrup coffee stuff that you take. Can't say any names, but yeah, this is perfect, and you can have as much as you want, and it's so easy to keep reusing it. Like I said, I've had this one here for 6 months. It's just a matter of how you make sure you refill it after you've taken your drink out for your cup of tea. Alright, lemon sliced. More ginger. Here we go. Got a little ginger juice in my eye. That does happen. Be careful when you're doing this. Some people use a spoon. That might be easier. I don't know. I've just always done it like this. Again, chickens and pigs. They will love that. Alright. Ginger. Sliced for the next layer. Layer, layer, layer. Always got a layer. That's the key. Layering it so that it can all, the liquid and the lemon and honey mixture we're about to make, so that it can all seep down in there good. Let's get some more ginger clean so we can get a good thick ginger layer. You don't have to get every bit of skin off, but as much as you can, because you don't want that bitter flavor. Alright, really good thick layer of ginger. Now comes the final end process. Now, I have a glass weight that I use. If you don't have these, you can just make sure you've got a couple of big, thick slices of lemon to wedge in there to prevent the ginger from popping up. You always want to have a final lemon layer on the top to try to prevent little pieces of ginger or turmeric floating up and being above the water line, or, well, it'll be a lemon and honey line, so that none of it gets air. If you have a weight, that's even better. Just squish it together, and you'll start to see some of the juices flowing. That's perfect. Now, for the next step, we've got to create the liquid that's going to go in here and on top of it to fill it up. So, more lemons. Now you can get organic lemon juice if you want and use that. But when I do my first round, I always like to squeeze as much of my own lemon juice as possible. Even all of that flesh from inside, we're going to want as much of the lemony goodness as we can. And like I said, you can just buy canned lemon juice if you want. But again, it won't work quite as well as fresh squeezed at first. This very first round, we're trying to create a pharmaceutical chemical reaction to try to get as much of the health benefits as we can started in brewing. And once you get it all going, topping it off with organic lemon juice is just fine. You don't have to squeeze fresh lemons every time you take yourself a drink of tea. Alright, more lemon. More of that lemon. Get some of the pulp out of the way so it goes down into the... Now, I'm going to take some of this pulp out of the way. Because I am going to use this pulp for mixing. But I just want to get some of this pulp out of the way so we can get the lemon juice down in there. Now, I happen to have lemons that have little itty bitty tiny seeds in them. They don't got big giant seeds in them. Those big giant seeds are really easy to pick out, but sometimes the little ones get through. And that's okay, that's not a big deal. It's not going to change any aspect of the antibiotic quality of the medicine we're making. Antibiotic, antiviral, all in one. Like my grandma used to say, farmer's flu shot. Now, I'm not advocating by any means that you don't not get your flu shot. My grandma, for quite a while, worked in a nursing home. For many, many years, like 25, 30 years, she worked in a nursing home and she was required to get flu shots because of her job. It was a requirement. But she still did this. I remember watching my Oma make this when I was really, really little, and I never really understood what it was. I always just thought Oma was making lemon tea. I didn't understand what she was doing. And as I got a little older, I kind of started to understand what it was. And I became a teenager and I didn't care. I didn't listen to the stuff. I was sick all the time as a teenager. I didn't pay attention to what Grandma said half the time. We all go through that stage. And then I grew up and became a mom. And when my daughter was about 1.5 years old, she got the flu really bad one year. My grandma said to me, well, why don't you just make that lemon ginger tea I always did when you were little? And she showed me how to make it again. And I've kept it in my house ever since. My husband loves this stuff. He pulls it out of the fridge all the time and makes himself a cup quickly and easily all the time. Got a lot of pulp in here. I think I'm going to pull the lid off. Clean a bunch of that pulp out. Whew. Clear out the vents here. Keep going because we want as much lemon juice as possible. And like I said, the lemons I have little seeds in them, so the little seeds are falling through. It's not really a big deal. It's not going to hurt you at all. It won't add any bitter flavor as long as there's not 50 of them in there. It'll be fine. Get this last lemon squeezed and all the juice to finish up this process. Okay. Move pulp off to the side. Grab as much of that lemon juice as you can. I remember when I first started doing research into Grandma's recipe, I always thought it was an old, European home remedy. I was even surprised when I learned that the original recipe came from someplace else and traveled and made its way to across Europe, and it became an old wives' tale. But it works. Alright, I got as many of those seeds out as I could. Now we are going to make what my grandma considered the most important part. The liquid that is going to go on these layers and help start the chemical reaction that we want. So, we're going to want the best local raw honey you can get. We want it raw because we want this antibiotic qualities that are in the honey. And if you can get local raw honey, it's the best. And we want to mix equal parts so that we can again create the pharmaceutical chemical reactions that we are looking for. Okay. Raw honey. A little bit of just the gold honey. Local, obviously, if you can. And then the juice from the lemons that we squeezed. And we want to try to get as equal parts as we can. Then we want to get all this mixed up, because we're trying to create a golden syrup that's going to fall down, coat all those layers, and create the chemical reactions that we're looking for. Alright. We might have to mix up more, but let's see how this works. And then we just slowly pour it in there. All the way down, much as we can. All this raw honey on top is not a bad thing. That is perfect. We want it up there. Let's make sure we get this lemon under the line. Top it off with lemon. Put our glass weight in there if you have one and if you're using one. And we squish it together a little bit and mix. Then you're going to want to let it sit for at least 12 to 24 hours before you use it the first time. That's why I have this out, so I can show you what to do with it from this point. Put our top on it. And there we go. Early winter tea. Or as my grandma used to call it, the farmer's flu shot. Lemon, ginger, turmeric. You can see all that antibiotic, raw honey that has slowly climbed down, And it's good that you've got all that extra honey crystals in there. Because as you use it, as you can see, this one's got no more honey left. That's why this is getting to the end. It's got a little bit of the honey antibiotic way on the bottom, but there's not much left. So this is the new one, and for winter, I always use turmeric because we want the antiviral, the antihistamine qualities that come with that. So after you've got it all made, and you stick it in the refrigerator for 12 hours to 24 hours to let it do its thing, you take your tea, take your glass. Here it is. In my house, we use this. My son had moved it on me. This is a tablespoon. And you take 2 to 3 tablespoons, depending upon how strong you like it. And you put it in your cup. You add your hot water. You mix it up. You've got yourself a nice, warm winter tea. And you're not going to have to add, for the most part, any more honey or sugar or anything to it because it'll be plenty strong. You used lots of honey when making this. This is so good. Now, after you've taken your drink out and made your tea and your liquid level has gone down, oh, what am I supposed to do with it now? You want to make sure that you don't ever use up all the liquid. Ever. Otherwise, if the liquid gets down here and the ginger and the lemon start coming above the oxygen level, you could get mold. And then it's all ruined and it's no good. So we just want to make sure we keep topping it off. And the way you top it off is you alternate back and forth between lemon and honey. Last time I put lemon on top of here. So this time, now you don't have to add more raw honey from this point because you've got all that raw honey at the bottom. Add your honey. Because remember, last time I added lemon. And now I have a glass thing in here, so I shake carefully. And as you can see, the top of my glass ring and this older one has a nice thick layer of antibiotic honey on it, which is just fine. There you go. You got it all mixed back up. And there we have it. Early winter antibiotic tea. I hope you enjoyed coming along on this adventure, and I hope you make this for your family. It's a wonderful addition to help with your health needs and to help you in this time of cold and flu season. Leave a thumbs up if you liked this video, and if you'd like me to explore and discuss and teach you more old wives' tales. I know lots of them. My grandma loved them. And remember, everyone, stay positive because you can do it too. Bye. I know I said I was done, but I came back for a side note. You don't have to squeeze fresh lemons every time you want to add new lemon juice to this. Like this here, I've added 100% organic lemon juice. I get this at Costco. You can use any kind of lemon juice that you get. The organic stuff with the pulp in the bottom is always the best. But you just top it off with a little bit of lemon juice. You can do fresh squeezed lemon every time if you want. But that just requires keeping lemons around. But my family uses this so much that I just keep organic lemon juice around to top it off. And remember, every other time that you take your medicine. That's what my kids call it. They call this their medicine. They love it. They come running when they think they're going to be getting their medicine. They love it. I just top it off one time with lemon, the next time with honey. Lemon, honey, lemon, honey. That way you make sure that you keep a even amount of your lemon juice and your honey in there. You don't want it to be a thick gloop. You want it to be a liquidy honey lemon mixture. You want the honey goop to be the raw crystallized honey chunks in amongst the layers and soaking its way down to the bottom. Oop, that popped back up. Alright, thank you for coming along, and we'll see you next time. Remember, stay positive. Bye. I'm crazy. I know. I'm back again. Well, an idea for what you can do with this mixture. It's been 6 months. It's old. It's done. I just made my new mixture. Yeah, I know I threw honey in here. That's not a big deal. What do we do with this? You don't want to waste it. You don't want to, you don't have to waste it. Take your glass thing out if you're using a glass weight, and dump it in the pig trough. Dump it out for the chickens. If you don't have pigs or chickens, dump it in your compost. This is wonderful to add to your compost. It will add so many of those good probiotics to your compost to help add great nutrients for your compost. Alright, again, that's all I have for you. I promise this time. We'll see you next time. Bye.